In Genesis 6, God declared judgment. In Genesis 7, judgment comes. God sends Noah and his family into the ark and then shuts them in, and what follows next is the flood is unleashed. The question arises, how long did the flood last? Calculating all the numbers in Genesis 7 and 8 would indicate it lasted for approximately 1 year, which is possible, but the numbers in Genesis might be symbolic. As we noted in our video on Genesis 5, the text employs a lot of symbolic numbers for theological messaging. The duration of the flood seems to fit with this textual and cultural context. For example, the flood account repeatedly employs exact numbers like 7 and 40. 7 is a sacred number, and it is often used to symbolize completion, and shows up throughout the early chapters of Genesis. In fact, it shows up in the flood account exactly 10 times. Another sacred number used was 7 to get a multiple of 70. Kenneth Matthews says, 7 indicates that the animals and birds are considered a full complement, adequately representing the whole created order. 7 is also used for time lengths, from God giving instructions to when the flood arrives, and the final intervals before Noah leaves the ark, possibly indicating different types of completion. The number 40 is used for the duration of rain, and has parallels in other places in Scripture as an important number. Both Isaac and Esau just happened to be 40 years of age when they marry. Moses remained on Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights, and his life is divided into 3 periods of 40 years. Israel's spies are in the land for 40 days, and then Israel in turn spends 40 years in the wilderness. Nahum Sarna notes the number 40 is often paired with a time of renewal or atonement. In the flood account, the land must be renewed and atoned for, which explains why the authors would pair it with the symbolic number that often represents that theme. John Walton and Tremper Longman say, all of these are identifiably formulaic numbers that consistently carry rhetorical value. Whether the biblical text is interested in commenting on calendrical issues, as Qumran interpreters thought, the fact remains that the evidence from the ancient world and biblical usage indicate that we are not to read these time frames as specific or precise designations of actual time spans. We cannot reconstruct how long the rain lasted, or the lengths of the aftermath of the flood, from the information given. That sort of information is not given. Instead, it is designed to convey the massive scope of the cataclysm. But beyond this, the event carries theological and moral issues for many. Why would God literally drown everyone, even the children and infants?